Hi, it's Philip from Good Dog Training and Daycare here. You may or may not, or hopefully are aware that I have been just posting a series of videos about my thoughts and issues that I think arise under the heading of grief and the loss of a pet. Although I'm principally involved with dogs, I have a pretty universal love of animals, but this doesn't just apply to people who have lost a dog. It applies to people who've lost horses, goats, stick insects, goldfish, cats, whatever it happens to be. But I suppose what really brought it into focus for me was that in the last year, my wife and myself lost two of our three dogs, one to cancer and one who just disappeared, and the absolute heartbreak that ensued. The earlier two videos posted dealt with some issues. I give you the date just before this posting on the Facebook page, so you can go back and look at them if you haven't seen them. But today I'm sort of moving on, and I wanted to talk about a couple of things that do come up when you have lost a pet. The first is, if you live in a house that has multiple pets, a couple of cats, a couple of dogs, a couple of horses, a couple of goats, or whatever it happens to be, and one of them dies, it's watching out for the pets that remain. In our case, when Lola went missing, and at this stage, unfortunately, probably presumed dead, we got no warning of this happening, and neither did our other two dogs. And Ben in particular was a really good friend with Lola, and he was lost after she didn't turn up one day. And we could see his whole character and his health started to diminish in his own version of grief, I presume, or his wonderment as to what had gone on. So when his turn came, where he succumbed to cancer and we had to have him euthanized, we brought Cato in to see him when he had passed over. And Cato came in and had an old sniff around, and didn't really make a very big deal of it. But he certainly knows that Ben was dead and that Ben wasn't going to come home, and he doesn't go around looking for Ben. I've heard stories of people who have had a dog go missing in a multiple dog household, and the dogs that have remained have gone and broken out of pens and broken out of gardens and stuff to go hunting for this dog that's missing. And they stray where they've never strayed before. So we need to look after our other pets. Now, I don't know too much about horses. I think they're wonderful creatures, and in truth I'm probably a little scared of them being up close, but they are fantastic. So I don't really know whether a horse, if it's been involved with another horse in a field for many years, that it feels that way, but presumably it does. They're all sentient beings, so I'm suggesting that they do have feelings, like the dogs, like the cats. Goldfish, stick insect, I'm not sure, but let's presume they do, okay? So look out for your pets when one of them goes missing or one of them has died. Try and just take care of them, especially in the immediate aftermath of the event. Okay, that's just one issue I just wanted to bring to mind. The other one is the question of loss of community. There is grief in this, okay? There is grief in the fact that your dog has died, your horse has, whatever has happened to it, is gone, your cat and all your other animals. But sticking with the horse, with the dog, which I'm most familiar with. Dog owners, they chat to each other on the beach in the forest. They talk dog because that's the common denominator with them. And some people out walking have developed quite good friendships with people that they meet while they're walking. And they enjoy the company and walk the beaches together and maybe make arrangements to meet up another time. They stop and talk to people in the pet aisles in shops and things like that. Have you tried this cat food? Have you tried this or that, the other? Even down the vet in the waiting room when your dog has been brought in to have his glands squeezed or something like that. There's always a bit of chatter going on with the staff and with the other people there. And this is a community around your pet. And when your pet passes on, this community very often is gone. Afternoon telly is available, but it's not as good as the days when you used to go out with the dog and walk him through the forest and on the beaches and things like that, or take your horse for a ride around the countryside. So this is what we call community, where we meet people like-minded around the pet that we love and cherish, and there are similar people that you have met that are like that. So when your community goes, it's quite a shock. It's quite difficult. You know, when people work for 40 years in a company and then they retire, that community is gone from them and they're in shock. And there is a grief, a genuine grief around that, and trying to rebuild a life. Now, the thing that I suggest is that an awful lot of agencies are out there looking for volunteers. So if you're at a loss after your dog is gone and you find yourself just sitting around and not walking, go to these refuges or rehoming centres and stuff like that and ask them, do they need anybody to help out, to walk dogs and all this kind of stuff, to clean up or whatever it happens to be. And I think it's the same in stables and in catteries and stuff like that. They're always looking for volunteers. So rebuild your community. Slightly different if you've decided not to get another dog for a while or another animal for a while. You can still rebuild your community among like-minded people. So bear that in mind, okay? And if you're feeling out of sorts about it, that maybe it is just that your community has dissolved in front of you and you haven't actually thought of that. So think of it now. The third thing I wanted to address today was, how soon should you get another pet? Now, I'm not standing here with any magic answer on this, okay? There is no magic answer, and you've got to go entirely with your gut. Some people, their animal, their pet, their loved one passes on and they get another one pretty quickly, okay? That's entirely, I have no judgment about that at all. They feel that it went a long way to filling the big gap that their pet had left. So, but do think about it, okay? You may have had, say for instance, a Springer Spaniel and it lived 12 or 13 years, 14 years and then passed on, okay? And you're thinking, what a beautiful dog. I think I'll go another Springer Spaniel. Now you have to just think about these things sensibly and sort of say, well, you got that dog 14 years ago. Now we've all aged as well, okay? And we may not be able to hike up the mountains for 2 or 3 hours every day just to exercise the likes of a Springer Spaniel. And maybe we need to think of alternative breeds that will fill the gap in our lives, if you like, and grow to love them. But that they aren't going to be putting impossible demands on us because of time passing and what it has done to us. So when our two passed, we knew that we wanted to get more dogs again, but we kind of made a decision that we would let dogs find us. And I hope everybody knows what I mean by that. The sort of things happen for a reason, and we're back up to 3 dogs now, and really probably a little quicker than we wanted to or anticipated, but we're delighted with the 2 that we've got. And but they kind of came to us in, if you like, in indirect ways, and we with open arms accepted them into our lives, and now they're just 3 happy dogs again, and it's fantastic. But just have a think about the timing. There's no right time and there's no wrong time, but just do have a look around the issues. And if you're just really grieving about the dog that you've lost, well, maybe you just need that time to grieve. Step into some voluntary organisations so that you keep in contact with dogs. Or if it was your horse that passed on, go on up to the stable and just lean on a fence and watch the horses go by, chat to a few people. And then when the time is right and you feel like it, taking the plunge again. And we all know we can't really live without our pets. Now this lot of them let me down. I'm going to finish up now before they go mad. So thanks for listening, and again, if you need support, drop in and see us, okay? Bye.